Hey, Fiendish Films fans, this is Mike Fitzgerald, and I'm here with interviewer and actress Madeline Milden, and we're starting a new series, film reviews. What happens is, once a week, the Fiendish Films crew gets together and have movie night, and Madeline has discussed doing film reviews, and occurred to me we should do films that we watched on these movie nights. I don't know why it's occurred to us before.
Yeah.
So, well, that was dull. I don't know why I shared that with you. So let's get on to, the movie we're reviewing, or that we have just finished watching is, well, let me get the third member of our crew here, Jurassic Jim. Jurassic Jim, what movie did we watch this evening? We watched, thank you very much. All right. We watched the Charles Band 1988 film, well, The Evil Clergyman. The Evil Clergyman is being released by Full Moon Entertainment, but was originally filmed by Charles Band, not as Full Moon, but as Empire Picture, the precursor to Full Moon Entertainment. The film was never released under Empire Pictures, supposedly lost in the mists of history or in a film vault. Also, possibly the original film was claimed by the bank for what Charles Band owed for loans taken out for Empire Pictures when it collapsed. It was given up as collateral. But Charles Band apparently had a VHS video, that he retained or found, from which he recovered this and the other parts of the Pulse Pounders film. But this is the first of the 3 stories to be released. And this story, we're going to debate this part. H.P. Lovecraft's The Evil Clergyman. So, what's to debate about this title, Madeline?
Well, the original story by H.P. Lovecraft, apparently by H.P. Lovecraft, which was released in the April 1939 issue of Weird Tales, actually wasn't written by him. He had written in a letter to his friend Bernard Austin Dwyer, who was a member of the Lovecraft Circle, that he had had this dream which had all these forbidden books and a menacing clergyman. Now, Dwyer, of course, encouraged Lovecraft to write a story about the said dream, and Lovecraft said no. After Lovecraft died, he then took a description of the dream and sent it to Weird Tales, which then they wrote the story, and it was published in 1939. So technically, this really wasn't written by Lovecraft, and it is a story based on a very small detail of some type of bizarre dream that HPL had.
So Dwyer didn't even actually write the finished story.
Yeah.
It was a staff member of
Weird Tales.
Weird Tales, and we're not necessarily certain who that may have been.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, and then that lends questions to the accuracy of the title, the H.P. Lovecraft, The Evil Clergyman. But even if you were to credit H.P. Lovecraft with this story, this short film
Absolutely nothing to do with that story.
in no ways resembles the short story.
There is a clergyman. He's not very nice, but nothing at all to do with the story, even remotely. Yeah.
Do you want to expand upon that? Anyway, how about, do you want to tell them what the original story
I'm going to
involves?
let you, because you've read it the most recently.
Oh, okay. Well, the original story is that of a scholar who visits a town, or the location of a home where a clergyman had lived, a clergyman of questions had lived, up in an attic. In the attic, he finds there's many books, and then there's a small object roughly the size of a matchbox, which he has been warned not to even gaze upon. Well, he shines a light on it, and it's not just a flashlight, not a torch. This causes images from the past, ghost-like images from the past, to appear, telling the tales of the evil clergyman who apparently had been seeking forbidden knowledge, and the other clergymen, apostles, bishops are condemning him and warning him to give up his research. He banishes him from his home and then torches at least a book.
Yeah.
This scene ends, and the scholar leaves, and the guide who brought him to the home is accompanied by another villager who is shocked to see the scholar. And the scholar doesn't understand why, till he's given a mirror, and he sees that he now appears has the visage, has the look of the evil clergyman. None of this occurs in
this movie,
the Charles Band film. There is a documentary. There's a documentary. I would not describe it as a documentary, just video taken at the premiere.
where they found as many people as I can count on one hand to sit there and say that this movie is fantastic and should win awards and is like the best thing they ever saw ever.
Well, I'm not questioning. I don't think either of us questioning the quality or necessarily an entertainment value of the short, but it doesn't reflect any work of Lovecraft. And even as I was going to say, Jeffrey Combs, who's on stage for the premiere with Barbara Crampton and Charles Band and Richard Brand, his brother, music composer for this piece. Jeffrey Combs says it the best, that it is very difficult to accurately adapt the work of H.P. Lovecraft, and I think that's being very generous. But let's talk about what it is. If it is not an H.P. Lovecraft film, if it is not the Lovecraft story or the evil clergyman, what is it?
Well, I'm going to repeat myself what I said earlier. This is Jeffrey Combs' fangirl porn. I mean, yeah.
If you're a fan of Jeffrey Combs, you will enjoy seeing Jeffrey Combs. You will enjoy seeing young Jeffrey Combs, Reanimator era Jeffrey Combs. Pulse Pounders, each of the three stories were intended to be a sequel of sorts. There is a Trancers sequel, which will be released next year by Full Moon Entertainment as Trancers 1.5. There is a Dungeon Master sequel, which you need to be a hardcore Empire Pictures fan to even know what that film was. And that film itself was, in a way, an anthology in the sense that it was broken up into numerous small parts, directed by numerous different directors. And then this, which isn't a sequel, but they viewed, let's get these actors from Reanimator to be in another H.P. Lovecraft short, bringing Barbara Crampton, Jeffrey Combs,
David Gale,
David Warner, who wasn't in...
He wasn't in Reanimator.
Reanimator. Was he in any other late H.P. Lovecraft adaptions?
Yes, he actually was in the film Necronomicon in Cool Air. He plays the man who has to encase himself in ice every day. I can't remember the character's name. And I'm pretty sure that Necronomicon was put out by Full Moon. I'm not sure.
No.
Well, he was.
There's something I know it's Full Moon.
Okay.
I was the Full Moon fiend for quite some time. Probably the biggest Full Moon fan. Okay.
Well, he was in that, so he was in something Lovecraft related, and this might have been made around the same time, possibly a bit earlier. This could have led him to be in Necronomicon. Cool Air is much more accurate to the story.
So now, instead of talking about what this wasn't, let's talk about what it was. What did you come away with, and how, seeing it outside the parameters of H.P. Lovecraft and The Evil Clergyman, what did you think of this short film?
It was interesting. It was almost art film, I would put it. Basically, the premise of the story is that there's this woman who's going to the site where her lover, who happened to be a clergyman, died, to make peace with herself. And he appears to her. They cuddle. And then this other clergyman comes and tells her, oh, he was this evil, heinous person, and, and that's his familiar, and it has the human-faced rat, which is from the Tales in the Witch House, and played by David Gale.
Now, Tales from the Witch House, they incorporated another H.P. Lovecraft story.
Yes.
Now, what is the human-faced rat, played by David Gale from Reanimator? What was that rat's role in Tales from the Witch House?
He was a familiar.
Okay.
Yeah, they kept that role where he was the witch's familiar in Jeffrey Combs plays kind of a warlock, if you could say. It's hinted at, he's doing things and not being a very good clergyman in the traditional sense. It's revealed that he's killed a few women, and as well as this other clergyman who appears to Barbara Crampton's character with half of his face done in, David Warner, which I have to say the makeup effect on the face was really good, and the way it was revealed and seeing that, he's actually been dead the entire time was interesting. And then Barbara Crampton is, I don't think they ever said her character's name.
No, the only character this is our first viewing, the only character's name who I recall is Jeffrey Combs' clergyman's character, is Jonathan.
Yes.
It's a small piece limited to 2 locations. There's only 5 actors in total. And yeah, I would describe this as, I think it's a nightmare story. A lot of questions. I think, as a viewer, it's real, but from the Barbara Crampton's lead character, she's not sure of what's going on. I think all the performances are good.
Oh, the performances were great.
It was. We were both biased.
Yeah.
by our love for the original work or love for Lovecraft. But stepping outside of that, it was entertaining. I don't think I would have been disappointed in it as part of an anthology. It did have some of the Charles Band trappings, unusual romance.
Very unusual romance.
For the time, sexual deviancy.
Yes.
Which was in a lot of his films. And then the odd creature.
Yes.
Charles Band's films always have, or a consistent trapping is the odd creature. So I think that is where the rat familiar comes in. It's
Yes.
like otherwise we would have had not so much of a straight up story, but it wouldn't have. It'd be. I'm not saying it's less dramatic because it has David Gale as the rat creature, but it would have played differently.
Right.
It's one of his touches.
Yeah.
So
it was odd kind of seeing David Gale in that role. The few roles I have seen David Gale in, he's always very dignified, and he's playing this. He's probably in one of the most.
He was
the
dignified
largest,
in Reanimator.
I felt he was somewhat dignified. I mean, before he
now
died.
This is another thing that another theme that was repeated in Reanimator. David Gale puts his dismembered head between Barbara Crampton's leg, and in this film,
I thought you were going to talk about the bat.
Legs, not leg. And in this film, David Gale as the rat creature
licks her butt.
Licks her tush. Which is one of the story of which is, and I'm not going to ruin this film for you, is one of the reasons to watch the documentary.
Because they talk about, apparently a lot went into this impressively large.
Oh no, don't spoil it. That's why I said.
No.
I just told you.
No.
Watch the documentary. Hear the story about the tush.
No, I'm not going to talk about the tush.
Okay. Oh, a lot went into
this fursuit that was, I guess, about the size of a car, because David Gale was a pretty big guy, and yeah, they made some things that, like they made a bed frame that was huge to make it look to scale. There's a lot of practical effects that were very impressive.
It would help to know that David Gale's not playing a man-sized rat creature, but
he's playing. It's a large rat.
A small, and is shot to imply that it is small. I was, and as an effects dinosaur, I was impressed by the tail action.
Yes.
On the rat creature in the close-up.
Yeah.
Jurassic Jim does effects, so you can appreciate that. Cool. Okay, on this disc I was also most excited about the Transfers 1.5 release next year. But I have enjoyed this disc, and I think that anybody who's a fan of Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, David Warner.
David Gale.
Well, I don't know if you're going to watch this film just for David Gale. But I think anyone who's a fan of any of those, and obviously anyone who's a fan of Charles Band, I think if you fall into one of those fan categories, you are going to want to have this disc, you're going to want to own this disc, and you're going to enjoy this short film. For Lovecraft fans, you will be woefully disappointed. For fans of 80s films, nostalgia, I think just look at the shoulders on what Barbara Crampton's wearing. She could definitely tackle somebody in that. But I thought it was an entertaining DVD altogether.
Yeah. No, it was definitely entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeffrey Combs does a great job. He pulls off being very sexy, very, very creepy, all at once. Very, pretty well. Usually he's got the creepy thing down, but
he was smooth.
He was very smooth. And there were some parts that were somewhat disturbing. So
yeah,
we won't spoil anything.
Some of it is shades of From Beyond.
Yes.
There's some shades of From Beyond. I would have to check, see where that falls in. But there is a taste of that, and fans of that film might enjoy this as well. Do you have any closing statements, or do you have anything else you want to add?
They threw a little thing in where they actually said the title of the Lovecraft story, which was, I don't know, that I was like, they said the rats in the walls.
Which isn't even related to this story in any way.
You could make a slight relation to the fact that they're having a rat problem, and one of the minor characters is complaining that you hear them all the time in the walls. So there's a few salutes to Lovecraft definitely in the story.
Oh, and anyone who would like to see a somewhat better documentary on Full Moon Entertainment, please check out on our channel the Fiendish Films documentary Roadshow Revealed, where we go behind the scenes of Charles Band's Full Moon Roadshow.
Mama, sure.
My son really likes Jurassic Jim. Alright, well, till next week.
What are we doing next week?
Well, next week, I don't know how we're going to handle next week. Because next week, we're going to have a lot to talk about. We might have to break it down, because next week we're watching the Magnet release, the Magnet release, the ABCs of Death. 26 short films, each based on a letter of the alphabet by 26 different directors. So, I mean, that alone
There'll be a few
that alone could be a series.
Yes.
I mean, we might have to break that up in some ways. All right, so if you enjoyed this, we'll be back again. Thanks for watching.